This week on Unheard-of podcast.
In a way, this is where it's pretty much what this whole episode is about. I'm thankful. I mean, not for it to be misconstrued, but because there are people who have lost their lives due to this virus, but I'm thankful for what COVID, I'm not thankful for COVID, but I'm thankful for what COVID has done, because a lot of these things we're talking about are things that COVID has caused in terms of our clarity, in terms of our, the way we think today. The way I think today is not a way that I thought before COVID.
Right.
Or the actions that I'm taking today are not actions I was taking or even felt I was capable of taking before COVID.
Right.
So I'm thankful for what that has brought out of me. All right. What up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unheard of. This is episode 8 with myself, Evan, and my cousin and sidekick, Nick here. Today, we don't expect to have too long of an episode for you, but being that it's our last episode of the year and the last one before Thanksgiving, we wanted to kind of just recap everything that's been going on and try to find some positive ground and find some things that we can still be thankful for. That being said, before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to pay respect to my grandfather, who just recently passed away. I don't want to talk too much about it because I will get emotional. It's still kind of bothersome to me, but that was a special man, retired Brigadier General of the Air Force, and did so much for his family. His story is just absolutely remarkable, and what he meant to me, I could never put into words. So, shouts to my grandfather. I know he's in heaven now and looking down, and I hope I can continue to make him proud, and I'm glad he's just not hurting anymore.
You have, brother, you have.
Thanks, man. Moving on, like we said, it's been a hell of a year, to say the least. Everybody knows, we've had Kobe, we've had COVID, we've had, we just had everything, man.
The political climate,
bro,
racism, killings.
It's just been so much. Even the dude from Jeopardy, what was his name? Alex Trebek. It's just been an unreal year, bro. Like, it really has.
No,
and
seriously.
It's hard not to feel emotionally drained in this year. I think over the past couple of weeks, I've found myself being emotionally drained. And I don't know if that's just all having to do with my grandfather, but there's also, I'm moving and the stress of that. There's just a lot to think about. Finances, trying to budget properly, things like that. Like, in this climate, those types of things aren't so easy, to maintain, and keeping a level head throughout it all is kind of tough, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the start of the year, everything was looking very, good for both of us, man, and especially for you. I know you hit that shot, and that was that was the highlight of, was like, dang, it's only 5 days into the year. Is this how it's gonna be? You know what I mean? So we were obviously excited about that, and I think obviously when Kobe died, it just took a complete turn left.
Yeah.
I mean, no one could have, foreseen that. But I want to ask you, do you think, because obviously I think the main thing that's different about this year is obviously COVID. You know what I mean? That's that's the one, you know, kind of anomaly of the year that doesn't happen every year. So I mean, we're used to having deaths and tragedy and stuff like that. Do you think that it's more so because of COVID, or do you think there's just something about this year that feels a little bit more intense?
I think it's both, to be honest with you. COVID itself, it feels like our lives have been put on hold without our lives actually being put on hold.
Yeah.
So we still have to continue to grind and get what we can get as far as money. But it's like, as far as the experiences we can have, you know, I've gone to Vegas once this year, bro. It ain't the same, you know, like, so it's like life is just put completely on hold. You know, when I did make that shot, I won all this money. I had every intention of getting my passport and finally taking some time out of the country.
Right.
COVID comes and says, nah, bro, we got other plans, you know? So,
I mean, you could go to Tulum, man. Everybody down there.
man, bro, I just want to, this is the thing, just like in Vegas, I don't want to travel where, or when there's a pandemic going on that's causing all these restrictions everywhere you go.
Right. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go somewhere without a mask on where I don't have to stay 6 feet away from everybody.
Right.
And, you know, like, I don't want to have to deal with that. So I'm just patiently waiting at this point. But COVID, yeah, it feels like that alone has ruined this year. And the unfortunate part about it is that it is going to spill over into 2021.
Right.
So, I mean, that is that. But at the same time, it just seems like this year of all years, we just have like notable star after notable star. And I mean, you know, my grandfather isn't a star like that, but I mean, the man is in the African American Museum. You know, like he is major, but he's a star in my world, you know. So,
I mean, even Chadwick Boseman.
Exactly. Chadwick, Kobe, Alex Trebek, like you name it. It's just death this year. Like, and I don't know if it's because we're all sitting still that it's just all like, it's so glaring.
Right.
But it seems like this is just a year unlike any other.
I mean, honestly, I think it's amplified because of COVID. Yeah. I mean, we've always had years where, you know, there's notable people like last year, you know, Prince died that was
not last year. That was in like 2016.
No, I'm tripping. Wait, we're not going
last year Nipsey died, bro.
Yeah, I'm tripping.
No, we keeping that in.
No, we not. Oh man, I don't know why my mind went to Prince. I think every year we've always had, you know, notable people dying. It's just because of COVID and we're not out and we're not working and, you know, we're not able to really do anything. I think that, you know, everything is kind of amplified. I mean, we've had big stars in the past. You know, Nipsey was killed last year. A couple of years back, you know, we had Prince, and, you know, we've had big stars that have always kind of shocked the world as far as their demise. But I think this year we're just, I don't know. I think this year we're learning more about the importance of being social with one another. The fact that we can't go out, you know, go to a bar and have a drink or go to the movies or, you know, go bowling or, you know, go travel. You know, those little things that we took for granted in the past, you know, now all of a sudden become everything.
It's true. I'm telling you, man. I mean, before COVID hit, I remember feeling like, you know, I go to the club or something and I feel like, man, not too much longer from now, this is going to be a point where I'm too old to be going to the club. You know what I'm saying? I was only 27 at the time, but still, you know, I feel like once you get into 30 range and stuff like that. Like, you shouldn't be going to the club all the time. And it's not like I win all the time, but like I feel like at a certain point you would never go, you know?
Yeah.
And once COVID hit, it's like, dang, you start to have like somewhat of an appreciation for it. But I was kind of like, I always knew my time was coming as far as not going to the club, but I didn't think it was I didn't think it was gonna happen like this.
Cut prematurely.
Yeah, like it almost feels like, you know, like basketball.
Right.
Like something is just taken from you because of something else, rather than like I'm getting too old or I'm not good enough or whatever. Like,
All right.
yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, COVID took my complete joy about graduating. You know what I mean?
I bet.
I couldn't walk a stage or
That
you
sucks,
know,
bro.
shake the president's hand or whatever. You know, it was a Zoom graduation. You
That
know,
sucks.
so and even to
You talking about his college president, not Donald Trump, y'all.
right.
Yeah.
And even, but I feel bad for even like the high school kids, man. They weren't able to go to prom, or if you're an athlete, they weren't able to play CIF, you know, state championships. They weren't able to,
that's tragic.
you know, graduate. Like, we're talking
That's
17
tragic.
and 18-year-old kids, man. That's, imagine
Tragic.
going through this when we were in high school.
Tragic. And you don't get no redo.
No.
That's the thing. You don't get a redo on that.
Mm-mm.
Like, I would be pissed.
Yeah.
Imagine going into your senior year of high school, the year that you're banking on for many to get that scholarship or whatever.
Right. Or even just a regular student, you know, who's not an athlete, who just wants to experience all the social things about being a senior, senior trips, and,
Yep.
you know, all of those last things that you do before you go to college.
Prom, senior night.
They can't do none of that.
None of that.
So, I mean, you know,
Tragic.
I hate to be the person that says, well, okay, think about, you know, what you do have because somebody has it worse, but it's just true. Like, it could be worse.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely could.
For sure. And I mean, with that being said, obviously we've kind of been touching on all the bad so far this year. but still, despite all of that, there are a lot of good things that we could take from this year.
Right.
And I mean, I know I'm thankful for a lot that I've experienced this year. Because it has caused an immense amount of growth in me, and some of it's not always the way that you want to grow, but you know, a diamond only forms under pressure. So, I mean, if you look at things the right way, and you're going about things the right way, even in this pandemic, I feel like you should always be able to find a way in which you can better yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether that's, you know, focusing on your diet or exercise or, you know, taking up a new hobby, reading, whatever it is.
Right.
You know, deciding to chase a dream that you had before that maybe you felt you didn't have time to chase.
Right.
Now you got a little extra time on your hands. Chase that.
Right.
You know, all those things are positives that you could take out of this.
Right.
And so, I mean, I want to ask you, what types of things have you done to navigate through these months in a way that you feel you'll come out better in the end?
Yeah, this year, man, very draining for me mentally. I started feeling my first kind of experiences of what anxiety felt like.
Yeah.
I never felt that before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I made, you know, a couple of investments last year that, you know, really went south on me.
Yeah.
And just from, you know, a business standpoint, you know, money, it's been rough financially. So for me, you know, and obviously I'm young and I have time to recover and, you know, get my stuff back, you know, under me. But it's for me challenging my patience and just figuring out, okay, what do I need to do going forward to make sure I don't put myself in this position again? And, you know, what direction do I really want to go? You know, once I graduated, I was trying to figure out, okay, what aspect of my field do I want to, put my focus in? Obviously I'm a real estate agent and I've put my time in a real estate. So for me, I decided, a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, that I was going to, pursue getting my broker's license. Right. So that's something that I put focus on, at, towards the end of this year to make sure that I put myself in a position to do. Mm-hmm. And then outside of that, obviously just eating right and making sure you're taking care of yourself. It's very easy to be lazy right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's no gym,
Yep.
there's no ways to really, be active in a way. You have to force yourself to get active.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just challenging my mental stability. And I think that's the biggest takeaway this year for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same with me, man. I mean, I remember when this thing first started, you and I were going hard lifting weights.
Right.
And trying to, make sure our bodies were transformed and all that stuff. And then we got to a point, we were doing really well, man.
Yeah.
I had gotten stronger than I'd been in a long time. But we got to a point where I forget what happened, but we fell off, bro. We fell off in a major way.
My body's such a balloon, man. I could get, nice and fit and cut and then like completely lose it in 2 weeks and then get it back. My body's weird. So
but yeah, I mean, that was something that I felt was obviously very beneficial for the both of us.
Right.
The only thing, I mean, it was a lot easier for you, seeing as how I was driving to LA every day to do it.
Yeah.
But it was still worth it to me in the end to see the results and set goals.
Right.
And reach them.
Right.
Especially in those workouts, it was kind of nostalgic, like playing ball back in the day. In college and stuff, where we're setting goals for each other,
right,
and we're pushing each other and reaching those goals or exceeding them,
right.
Pushing ourselves to limits we didn't know we had. And we take that outside of lifting weights. Now we've started this.
Right.
I personally have made my mind up pretty much that somehow, some way, I'm going to get my foot back in the door of journalism.
Right.
And so I'm making phone calls to newspapers, and I'm writing sample pieces and things like that. Still haven't done as much as I would like to, but they're coming. I have things in mind. I've been busy. So it's this year in itself, it's been very eye-opening to me. And just like you said, testing your mental fortitude.
Yeah.
I still slip up. Like I said, there are times where I probably should be trying to write sample pieces. And instead, I'm tired, so I'm chilling, watching Moesha or something. You know what I'm saying? But
you sure it's being tired, though? Or do you feel like it might be a down moment or
I think I'm just mentally drained at times, and I go through it in other ways that are more personal that I'm not going to put all out there like that, but I get drained, and luckily I'm finally about to, I hope, put myself in a position where I have a lot more time to myself.
Yeah.
Time to think and kind of just work on myself a little bit without stress. And I think that'll be so great for me, like beyond great. So
has this year sort of made you think about your future more than you have in the past, do you feel like?
Yep, definitely. I mean, I've always thought about my future, but this year I feel like, I turned 28 years old, and I look at that age, and I don't feel like it's young by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like yes, it's young, but it's not young. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm fresh out of college. Like, nah, bro. Like I'm in this world. I should be making more than what I'm making.
Right.
Like and because of that, I feel behind.
Right.
So I feel blessed to have made that half court shot to give myself a boost financially and try to make the right decisions to put myself in a better financial position.
Right.
But there's still pressure there too, because you have to make the right choices, you know.
I think you're hitting the point where that financial clock starts to tick.
Yeah.
Because I think every man gets to that point where it's like, oh shoot, like I gotta get my stuff together.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, especially in the world we live in now, like, to be honest with you, bro, like, people, some may come down on me. This isn't all women. I'm not going to generalize, but most, I feel, they're not looking to help a man build at this point. When you reach a certain level in your life, you're not finding women who want to help a man build. They want a man who has his shit together. And so
I think what it is I think a woman just has to see that you have a plan.
Well, of course.
I think it's less about like building with you and more so like let me make sure he has the potential and he has a concrete plan of what he's about to do.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I think it's more so about the type of woman.
Right.
Because you have the ones who are, you know, they want you to wine and dine them all day, every day type where you're not doing that if you don't have all your ducks in a row already.
Right.
You know, but for the ones who are not so high maintenance, then yeah, you're right. As long as they know you have a plan,
right,
then you're good.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I am of that age where it's like I need to be executing my plan.
Right.
You know? And so I feel that pressure, especially because I've been doing something for the past 4 years career-wise that I am not passionate about.
Right.
Like, and I know many people work jobs they're not passionate about. But if I'm not going to be passionate about my job, my pay better suffice for that.
Yeah.
And that ain't happening either. So,
yeah,
like, I would rather get back into what I enjoy doing. Being a reporter, that wasn't necessarily my dream as a kid.
Yeah, you wanted to play ball.
I wanted to play ball, but I always said if I couldn't, I'd stay around it in a way, you know, the next best way. And coaching would be one way, but that's a tough route too.
Yeah.
And I've learned that I'm not always, like, I enjoy coaching kids, but I don't find as much satisfaction in it depending on the age group. To be honest with you, like,
this is tougher depending on.
Yeah, because I mean, I was more advanced of a player, so I would rather teach junior high at worst.
Right.
But like, if I had my way, I'm teaching high school kids.
Right.
Because they can follow directions. They know what, you know.
Right. Like,
they know what I'm talking about. And so, I mean, overall, coaching is just it's cool. And if you're built for that, then great. I don't think it's for me. I've learned that.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I could do it in my spare time. I can help out, whatever. But overall, I think the way I want to be around the game is to be a writer. I'm good at it, you know?
No, you are.
So,
and even speaking and just you doing this, I mean, you're honestly a natural at it, man. I've told you that. You know, I don't think
I got work to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can always get better, of course, but as long as you have the foundational tools to do it, you know, you just build off of that. So it's just like in basketball. If you had a natural talent in basketball, you build off of that natural talent.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I think it's interesting because when we talk about this year and 2020, we had such high hopes for the idea of what 2020 was going to be. Right.
And it started off great those first 5 days.
Right.
I mean, let's be real. First I was still riding my
Couple
high
weeks.
the next couple weeks
Yeah.
after that. So yeah, basically everything was all good until Kobe died.
But the thing that's interesting though, and I noticed this, is that, you know, a lot of people talk as if, you know, the clock is going to strike midnight at 2021, and then all of a sudden everything that happened this year is just done.
Washes away.
You know what I mean?
It's
And
still
life-
something we still got to deal with.
Life just doesn't work like that. I
Yeah.
think we have a tendency to put events in a time capsule,
Yeah.
right? And it just doesn't work like that. You know, time is infinite. So whatever you're dealing with, you're still going to be dealing with it. It's not just going to stop just because it's another time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, the phrase "time heals all wounds" was coined basically because after a while you do kind of move on.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not like, you know, midnight's gonna strike on January 1st and everything that happened in 2020 is
Right.
gonna go away. You know, Kobe's not coming back. Chadwick, nobody's coming back.
Right.
COVID will still be here. We're still gonna be in the same world pretty much. Hopefully closer to a vaccine.
Right.
Which personally, it's a lose-lose in my eyes. I'm not huge on vaccinations. Just because I don't trust the government. But
Right.
but if a vaccination is going to allow the world to go back to normal, then
You'd be
Shit.
more inclined to
yeah, you know,
to think about it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily want it for myself, but if you want to go get it, y'all go ahead and do y'all thing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I do think that, you know, I don't want to get like too religious or too spiritual about this thing, but I do think that for those who do believe in a higher power or God or whatever you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is something powerful about almost being forced to analyze your life and really observe, you know, what you're doing and what you're, you know, where you're headed towards, right? I think this year, one thing for me was, how do I come out of this better than I was before?
Right. Same.
Right. I think, you know, there's a lot of quotes going around, like, if you know, don't leave this with some sort of skill or some sort of, you know, thing that you're better at or whatever, you've kind of missed the point of this, right?
Yep.
And I think in a lot of ways that is true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, time is going to keep moving.
Yep.
So this idea, and I was kind of struggling with this for a minute because, you know, obviously as a real estate, you know, person, I'm used to meeting people and doing open houses and gaining clientele based off of interaction, right? So I couldn't do that once COVID hit. So I felt stuck. I was like, okay, how the hell am I gonna, you know, do business?
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that definitely, you know, was weighing on me, is how do you adapt to the new normal
Yeah.
for however long it's going to be. It could be a year, it could be 3 years. Hopefully it's not that long, but
Man.
you know, but yeah, I think that's the tough thing. It's the new normacy of it, because I mean, we've been going through this for the last 9 months, and it's almost weird now not wearing a mask. Like when you're in public, it's like, oh wow,
Yep.
like I'm not.
Yep.
What's gonna happen? Are people even gonna feel comfortable not wearing masks when this is supposedly over
Right.
and we have a vaccine?
Man, I will. I'll tell you that right now, bruh. I wear my mask out of respect for anybody who may feel uncomfortable, which is, you know, shoot, I had thrown a video up on Instagram about that a while ago, and I think it's selfish when people complain about wearing a mask, like talking about they can't breathe. Like, no.
Yeah. I mean,
Eric
the fact
Gardner
that
couldn't breathe. George Floyd couldn't breathe.
Right.
You can breathe.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't want to be inconvenienced.
right,
You know, you don't want to smell your own stanky ass breath. Like, that's pretty much what it boils down to. But
right,
but out of respect for people I wear my mask all
Right.
the time. And but when that day comes where they're like, yeah, y'all can walk around without a mask, bruh.
Yeah, it's gonna take a long time, for us to get to a point where, things are back to where they used to be. Where we can go out and not wear a mask and feel perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's so weird because with COVID, we haven't really gotten the correct like diagnosis of what it can do, right? It's like one moment it's the worst thing ever and it can kill anybody who catches it, and then another moment it's like a regular flu. And so it's hard to gauge how much to be cautious and to panic about it. When you're talking about something that's a 2% death rate, I believe it is. I mean, car accidents are almost just as dangerous, you know what I mean, in a way. And not to minimize what COVID can do to you, but it's just, I feel like it's just so tricky. It really is. It's, in a way, I feel like it's been a little bit overblown in some sorts as far as with the media and the politics of it. Mm-hmm. But then on the other hand, from the other side, it's like people are politicizing wearing a mask. So like even if I don't believe that a mask is gonna help, like what's gonna hurt by wearing a mask?
Nothing.
There's nothing.
That's our dumbass president.
Right.
That's all him.
Right.
Like, because I guarantee if Trump was to say, if he was to be wearing a mask like Biden and promoting that,
right,
those people wouldn't be over here like, give me my freedom, blah, blah, blah. Like, no.
Right.
They would just do what they have to do.
And I mean, the weird thing is that, people are more concerned with the idea of having rights than for something to be right.
Right.
Which is really weird to me. It's like
it's stupid.
You want to have the right to, hurt humankind or whatever, right? But even if it's not right, you just want to have the right to be able to do it. And it just defies logic. It doesn't make any sense.
None at all, bro. But yeah, I mean, this is something that we are going to be dealing with for quite a while, it seems.
Yeah.
In one way or another. I mean, like I said, once they get that vaccine, hopefully things will kind of die down a little bit.
Right. I mean, I am definitely thankful that, we have a different administration that I feel like is going to take it much more seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, thank God Trump is trying to cooperate as far as, bridging that gap, with the transition and getting Biden what he needs.
Who said he's trying to cooperate?
Oh, it just came out today. You didn't see? Apparently he sent a letter to Biden and, pretty much told him he's going to cooperate with transitioning the.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So.
I missed that part. I did not.
You got to catch up on your news, man.
Yeah. Hey, the news was on like all day too. Well, until I turned it off.
So in light of, Thanksgiving obviously is coming up this week. What can you say that you're thankful for, amidst everything that's going on? What kind of jumps out at you?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, even though it's not as common as they paint it out, as they paint the picture to be, the reality is COVID is real and people do catch it and people do have a hard time with it. You know, some people do.
Right.
So I'm thankful that, in getting tested 2 times, both times they came back negative for me.
Right.
And I've been pretty fairly healthy in regards to that.
Right.
Throughout this whole thing. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for my mother not catching it as well. Right. Being that she's elderly and, a former cancer patient.
Right.
And
survivor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But outside of COVID, man, I'm thankful for, of course, January 5th. That was the night I made that half court shot. One life-changing money if used properly. Some, family has been able to benefit from that. And as much as I would like to take a moment and be selfish for a change.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm a helper when it comes to my family. So to be able to help them do some things, I'm thankful for that. And help myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have no shame in the joy that I have in finally having a credit score over 700. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, man, I busted my ass to get that up there. And
that man will text me every week like my credit score went up 1 point. It go from like 690 to 691 or something.
Yeah, you capping. 1 point was nothing, but I would always be happy to see my score go up, and now it's in a place where I don't have to worry about things. I can go out and get my own apartment and stuff like that, and it's just nice. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful to, though I have my health challenges, I'm thankful for the means to monitor them.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that they don't get too much worse, knock on wood. But, yeah, knocking on this wood just got my dog to think that somebody was at the door. But yeah, so I'm thankful for a lot, man. And I really could go on forever. I'm thankful for this podcast. I'm thankful for new ideas and finally deciding to do what I want to do with my life. And now I'm finally taking the steps to try to make sure it happens. And I still got a ways to go, but I'm just thankful that I'm of the mindset that I'm going to make it happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
So thankful for all those things, man. So, what about you?
Yeah, along the lines of the same, I'm thankful that I haven't, had any issues regarding COVID, you know what I mean, or catching it or my family catching it. So that's a blessing. Honestly, I'm thankful for God as far as my spiritual connection with God and my faith and my mental stability. That's the biggest, because even though I've had issues sometimes, and we all do, we go through moments in time where we're struggling mentally and emotionally making sense of things. I am thankful that I feel like God blessed me with a very level head, to find what's good out of the worst possible circumstance. I think that's very important.
Definitely.
So I'm extremely thankful for that. And
sometimes he tries a little too hard. That's that toxic positivity we be talking about.
Oh my gosh!
But
you said I'm a realist. I'm an optimistic realist.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I think you gotta be able to see the light in the darkness, man. Otherwise, what are you gonna be able to do? You just gonna see dark the whole time? You gonna stay in the dark. If you don't see the light, you're not gonna search for it. You know what I mean? So. I think that's incredibly important during this time because it's easy to be down, very easy to be down. It's like I said, it's hard to get out and do things and be productive. So you have to force yourself to be productive. Come up with little goals every day to set. I'm thankful that I have inner motivation, self-motivation. You know what I mean? It's not something that I have to really find. So I'm very thankful for that, and thankful for clear vision on what I, want out of my life, and what that looks like in the future.
I feel it, man. I feel it.
Yeah.
And I'm, in a way, this is where it's pretty much what this whole episode is about. I'm thankful. I mean, not for it to be misconstrued, but because there are people who have lost their lives due to this virus, but I'm thankful for what COVID, I'm not thankful for COVID, but I'm thankful for what COVID has done, because a lot of these things we're talking about are things that COVID has caused in terms of our clarity, in terms of our, the way we think today. The way I think today is not a way that I thought before COVID.
Right.
Or the actions that I'm taking today are not actions I was taking or even felt I was capable of taking before COVID.
Right.
So I'm thankful for what that has brought out of me. But like I said, not to be misconstrued, because I would give that up for people to have their lives back.
Right.
But if I have to take a positive out of it, I'm going to take that.
Right.
So, yeah. But, I mean, this episode isn't nothing too crazy. It's just something I hope that anybody watching could also take something positive from. It could help you guys to think about it if you haven't. What type of growth you've experienced in yourself, whether you've noticed it or whether now that you're looking at it, you're like, wow, before COVID, maybe I wasn't doing this. I hadn't made a habit of doing this thing that I'm doing now, or I wasn't thinking this way. Our journeys are all, day to day, and we all have decisions and choices to make on how we go about any circumstance that's thrown our way. And Lord knows 2020 has thrown plenty of them our way. Yeah. So how we choose to deal with them, that's on us. And like we said, if you're not coming out better by the end of it all, you missed the boat. So that being said, I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Whoever you are able to gather with, whether it's just those under your roof or you feeling frisky and you sneak out and have a family gathering, whatever you do, please be safe. And yeah, just remember the little things, anything that you have to be thankful for, because despite everything going on, there's definitely things to be thankful for. So, Nick?
There it is.
All right, y'all. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts, and we out of here.
Happy Thanksgiving.